Let's get a quick update on everything that's been going on with this this really sad situation about the Save a Fox YouTube channel. Blabs, you want to give everybody a quick recap of all the things we talked about before we get into this update here?
All right, so there was a YouTuber, she had, 2 million subscribers, that she ran a animal conservation account, and she had like a little center for her animals. I believe it was mostly foxes that she kept alive and safe. And she was also autistic. She was a wife. She had 2 children, and she was suffering with a lot of like mental health issues. Unfortunately, she took her own life the other day, and her husband reported the news on the YouTube channel. Obviously, rightfully so. He's devastated. She leaves behind like 2 really, really young children. One of them's a toddler, so this little girl's never gonna grow up knowing her mom, which is tragic in itself. And supposedly, they're saying that a lot of the people attacking her online led to, a huge decline of her mental health. Now, that can be argued, I guess. I mean, we don't really know. We're not really gonna know. That's basically the TLDR. I think I got everything.
That's about where we left it. And
Yeah.
you said that can be argued, and I think it's very clear at this point, kind of where things are at right now, because some of the people that were throwing this at Michaela over here, I believe her name was Michaela. Yes, yes. Michaela Reigns. They have kind of come out and had some statements. So yes, she. Let's start there. She ended up ending her own life. Hitting the delete button. She died at 31. But if you go back, somebody uploaded this, and this is actually a compilation, a nearly 9-minute compilation of things that were posted on social media from her before all this obviously happened. So just take a listen to some of the words she's saying here. And then, like, we know that she was suffering from mental health issues. She was on medication. She was autistic, and she was getting harassed. She was as happy as she appears online. She wasn't necessarily happy in real life. So real quick, just kind of take a look at this.
I appreciate your guys' support over the years, and the Foxes do too, but I don't want to do this anymore. And I don't think I can handle it. And I wouldn't just leave the Foxes hanging. I wouldn't just leave them without having someone to take my place, or like some sort of backup or a place for them to go. I wouldn't do that. There would still be a Save a Fox, but I just don't know if I can be a part of it, because I'm just not the same person I used to be. When I was younger and a fox would pass away, obviously I would take it really hard. But I would bounce back. But I think just like all the trauma of loss over the years, like I'm not bouncing back anymore. I don't feel passion or happiness or like drive to keep going. I just feel a lot of pain.
So that's obviously really tough. And you can kind of see where she was at. This was obviously leading up to everything that happened. And there's still another 6.5 minutes of videos just like that of her talking about, where she's at. I would love to get y'all's thoughts on just seeing that. It's obviously very sad, but I think it lends a lot of clues as to how we got to where we're at.
Yeah. I mean, I had also heard that there were people in her real life who were saying these things to her as well and getting to her. At least that's what because I watched some of the husband's actual video, and he was saying that it wasn't just these snark pages. It was also people in her real life, which is just atrocious to even think that. But I mean, if she's in a, we already addressed, if she's in a place where she, you know, she has these mental problems, she's not gonna be strong enough to get away from those people. She's not gonna be strong enough to, you know, better herself. She's being torn down by the people she did trust and the people closest to her in her real life. You're supposed to be able to escape from the internet to these people. And it's just, I mean, it is truly devastating that this woman clearly gave out so many signs. And I mean, the husband, we can only guess he probably tried so incredibly hard to give her every ounce of his love and attention to make her feel like she had enough with them. But, you know, with mental problems combined with feeling like the entire world is against you, I can't imagine what she was feeling. So that is just devastating.
Meg?
I mean, I agree with everything Mally said. Mental illness is not talked about enough anymore because we're having to affirm all of these mental illnesses now. And I don't know when that video was taken, but it was obviously a cry for help. And the cry for help kind of insinuates that her support system was already broken down and she had nobody to go to. But there are resources out there for people that have mental illness. There's therapy, there's counseling. I would stay away from meds because sometimes that can make it worse. I see some people in the chat already saying that. But like I said, it seems from the video that her support system had broken down and she felt like she didn't have anything left or anywhere to go or anyone to go to talk to, which is so sad.
Well, would you like to see one of the people who really kind of dug in and really went in on Reddit? And once again, the Reddit, the subreddit that they had was a very small subreddit of detractors here. But this is the person, and this is all over the internet. I don't feel weird about sharing this. I'm not doxing anybody or anything like that. But this is the picture that's going around about this from this person right here. This was, I mean, pretty much tells you everything you need to know about the person. But there's more.
You can smell the mental illness.
Oh, yeah. And they decided they were not going to back down. So much so actually saying that. Said, I'm not backing down. Fuck off. You act like I went to Michaela's house, slit her open, and left her to bleed out. All I did was put together a few sources pointing out some things she did wrong. I had no hand in bullying of any kind. Even if I did, you're no better for calling me slurs, telling me you're going to dox me, and sending me instructions on how to myself. You ask me if I'm proud of myself, if I earn myself with the guides you sent me. Would you be proud of yourself? Get real over here. So they're doubling down on everything here, which is
the backpedaling
really
is wild. Just gotta say, the backpedaling is wild. Like and then the doubling down while backpedaling. That's the thing. It's doubling down of I did the right thing, but backpedaling at the same time by saying, well, all I did was put together some sources.
Right.
Is that all you did? Because there's a digital footprint, and now the entire internet's mad at you. I have a feeling that if all you did was put together some sources, you wouldn't be here.
Well, it's like all I did was light a match in a heavily wooded forest that was really dry. All I did was light it and just put it on the ground, and then the the match did it. What are you talking about? And this was pointed out over on Reddit where this whole thing started. It says everyone will know this person as the insensitive cretin who contributed to the death of a wonderful person. And they responded, said this will all die down in a month, like kind of shrugging it off.
That is a person who is, these are the people that piss me off. That is a person who feels so incredibly safe behind their screen. They have been they've never been punched. They have never been, they've not been properly kicked in the ass because they have never been woken up. They feel so safe, and someone needs to kick their ass. I don't even know how else to say it. Oh my God. That person feels too safe. They feel too safe. Like I know that I have to agree with what you said the other day, Craig, of like objectively, yes, she did this to herself. That is the cause and effect. That is the fact of the situation. Can we say that this person is just completely void of all fault? Absolutely not. Right. This person very clearly contributed to, like you said, lighting a match in the wooded forest. It's like, no, I would be very pleased to see the FBI or police show up at this person's house and be like, hi, you want to explain your severe cyberbullying that led a person to offing themselves? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, there was a clear objective. with this person's plan of going after her the way that they did. There was an objective, and that objective was to humiliate her and make her miserable and to attack the mental illness that she was already suffering from. Like, there was an objective. There's a plan in this. And unfortunately, he succeeded. And now he's like, oh, wait a minute, I didn't do it. I'm like,
I
no,
feel like
but
he
you
pushed her to make it look like it wasn't premeditated, because it totally was. Exactly. Yeah.
So this person's social media and X accounts have been found. And they have since been deleted, which is why I'm totally fine with showing them. But what are some things that you point out here? Literally says your local harassment insider over here.
Wow.
We have some pronouns in bio, by the way, and also game developer here. So you can kind of see like literally red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag, right? And then there's one actual different kind of flag in the picture itself. Does everybody see the flag right there? There we go. So we have a mentally unwell person taking it out on somebody else who is mentally struggling. And this person, Pascal, had this as, if I'm following this correctly, a transgender subreddit decided to cyberbully a woman for no reason at all until she killed herself. That has 2.7 million views over on X. And that's more or less kind of what it sounds like in the situation. Now, this person, once again, posted over on Reddit, and this was actually deleted by Reddit moderators, which I guess is a good thing. But there's a screenshot of it. The internet never lies. So Blabs, I want you to go to read this because this is a lot of text. And will you actually just pull it up and you can read it on your side, Blabs? I'll put it in the private chat for you so I don't have to make it too big. But this is kind of them going back on it again. I'll just read the title. Several years ago, I wrote an informational post explaining why a prominent figure in the animal rescue community is not the saint people think she is. Now I alone am being blamed for her suicide here. And once again, this has been deleted. And this is really amazing to see that you have somebody who has caused so much harm go back and be such a narcissist to ultimately make it about them. And, I've said this on the show many times, there's nothing worse than an insecure narcissist. And that's what you have here. Right.
I read ahead and I'm seething. I'm literally sitting here. I can't even sit still because I am seething at the utter defiance of responsibility.
Well, I almost said narcissist earlier because of the lack of empathy.
Yes. Yeah.
Narcissists feel nothing. They feel no empathy.
Someone in the chat said sociopath. Yeah, like the completely void of all feeling. Completely. Yeah.
Blabs, you want to read this?
Yeah, so first off, before I read it, I was trying to find this account on Blue Sky, the KZO Lion, and somebody took the username and said it's not me, but then they went and found like the activity of the original like KZO Lion, and a lot of their stuff has been nuked from like sofurry.com, and like the admins have been nuking. I put it in the private chat. You can pull it, like look at everything afterwards. So I'll go read this big ass Reddit thing now. Okay. A video dropped today announcing Michaela Reigns of SaveAFox death. Ever since my notices have been overflowing with her meat writers. People have obsessively degraded me, my posts and comments on various subs. You people are calling me slurs, threatening to dox me, and telling me to myself, as well as somehow you're the good guys. I bet if I were to actually myself, you would be very quiet. When I first found out what happened, in the very heat of the moment, I felt no remorse. Then a pit made itself known in my stomach and began to expand. But now, with the way you people are behaving, the guilt is starting to wane. Ouch. I am proud of the fact that I was able to raise awareness of her wrongdoings. What I am not proud of is that people took her death as an invitation to hold me personally responsible. Do you really think Michaela went on 2 years ago, a small furry creator on the internet said, I'm not perfect, time to kill myself? You probably won't believe me when I say this, but I was never part of the SAF Snark subreddit. I even knew it existed before today. Since the initial announcement, over 40 people, yes, over 40 of them, have wished various things like bankruptcy and homelessness on me, telling me to rope myself and do what she did, among other graphic instructions to suicide. Even one person even told me to create mustard gas, as if they're any better for it. This just in, you're not. However bad you think I am, you're only proving yourself to be worse.
Oh, no, allow me to kind of counter that a little bit, right? That's really like I said, narcissistic thinking, and the idea that, look, you're doing it to me, so you're no better, but you prompted this to you, right? You like
Gaslighting.
it's
That
total gaslighting.
Such classic gaslighting narcissist. Yeah. Like, I am completely unable to see the mirror in front of my face, but do you know what you did to hurt me?
Mm-hmm. That's what
Immediate
classic narcissist.
Yeah.
Just to
100%.
gaslight,
101.
turn it around so that they're the victim and you forget about all the things that they did.
And
Which is what this
that's
person's
the
doing.
part that pisses me off about the like safety behind the screen. The confidence and the cockiness to say it'll all blow over in a month. You have been let off the hook so many times before.
Never held
Oh my
accountable,
God.
like a narcissist.
Yeah.
If they have
Yeah.
enablers,
Yeah.
sounds like this person has an enabler.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this: their address was put out on the internet, and they were doxxed. It was put out there because I was curious. I looked it up, and let me just tell you this right now: they live in a very nice house.
Enablers.
Of
Of course they
Enablers.
do.
Listen, I don't approve. I'm not cool with doxing. That's not cool.
No.
I don't care who you are. That's not okay.
I agree, but I was just curious because I think it
But-
tells you a lot about.
If I saw it sitting there, I would have looked it up too to see. And when you see that, yes, that tells a fucking story. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh.
Right, it tells you everything you need to know, for sure.
That's
Which is
mommy and
crazy.
daddy enabling their psychotic child.
Yes.
Mhm.
By the way, it looks like we're getting rated over on YouTube. Thank you very much, Hypno Raid, for popping and
Nice.
joining us. Blabs, let's go ahead and continue. By the way, if you guys are just joining us, great to see you. We are continuing the story about the SaveAFox incident that happened in the last few days. A little update on everything that's been going on. Blabs, let's go ahead and continue reading this, please.
Okay. It says, another thing I've seen is people pulling the autism card. Newsflash, autism doesn't give you impunity from animal abuse. I should know since I have it too. If Michaela cannot be blamed for her fox's easily preventable deaths, then I cannot be blamed for her own death. If you're going to blame anyone, blame the Tumblr users. What's this muslid? And is the fox video cute for bringing to my attention everything wrong with SAF? I simply compiled the information they had given me that is not bullying. From what this muslid themselves, even specifically pointing out that the loudest voices affected Michaela were people she knew in other animal sanctuaries, not a random Tumblr blog that gets less than 100 notes on each post. This post probably won't make things any better for me, but what you're doing now certainly isn't making things any better for you either. I made one post putting together various sources, and that was it. Get a fucking life.
It's right back at you, bruh.
Yeah, brah,
They're
dude.
going
Back
out
at
of
ya.
the way to say, oh, well, Ethan pointed out that this stuff doesn't even affect her. Oh, right. Okay, so that completely warrants everything that was being said and done online to her. That makes it okay because she wasn't bothered by it because someone else said she wasn't bothered by it. Right.
Yeah, no, look over there. Look, they're doing it too.
Exactly. Oh.
Bush and Rio Cat says, you want to prove this sociopath wrong, stay on this lady's story till all the truth comes out. Well, is there something you know about this, Bush and Rio Cat, that we do not, that you'd like to share? Just curious. Thank you, Bush and Rio Cat. Now, Blabs, you pointed out that this person's handle was taken over on Blue Sky by somebody
Yes.
who is not this person.
Correct.
And as you were reading this off, I was looking through. This tells you a lot about this person.
They're
Now-
furry.
Oh, yeah. Now, once again, I want to go back to their X account. Your local harassment insider, him, 21 years old, right? And kind of got this, drawn demon thing here. But here's the Blue Sky profile. Now, they took the handle here. This is not them. I took the handle, rest in peace, Michaela, right? So somebody went in and took it, and they've been doing digging on this person. So they had a so furry account And So Furry is one of the largest and longest running furry art, fiction, chat, and community sites, serving the furry community since 2002 with over 400,000 registered users. They had since deleted that account. You wonder why, of course.
Well, apparently the admin did it.
I guess the person's alt account was still up. But here's the header of this. You can see all the flags and how this is just
a cult.
Yeah, totally not a cult. Right, exactly. Definitely 100% not a cult. It tells you really everything that you need to know about this here. And really the mental illness that this person had, like when this is all you have, this is your entire identity, so much so that you're putting it up and you like made a custom banner for your, oh my God, crazy. What is it? By the way, what is this? Gender drop down rollback? What is this? This June 19th. What
That sounds like a website update.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know what the fuck that is.
So they had a deviant art account. It's been deleted. What a mess. What an absolute mess this whole thing is. I said this yesterday. I'll say it again. And what this does is it really puts the emphasis, the eyes on this type of abuse that happens online, right? Ultimately, Michaela is the one who made the decision to end her life. That's incredibly sad. But you can see how she got there, right? Should she have left her kids and her husband? No, of course not. But and you look at, she was, late 20, early 30s, and she's getting bullied by this fucking child. This child who is clearly messed up in the head, which is why people say, well, like when you guys have your detractors or people who hate you guys, or they watch us and they take things out of context, whatever, like we don't give a fuck, because we know that ultimately you can only be canceled if you want to be canceled, first and foremost. And number two, they're just really fucked up people who are sad. These are sad people who feel the need to hate watch or go after a lady trying to save foxes and stuff. Like what at this point, this person, I hope, which I think is going to be very hard for them to do, is to go back and actually have some self-reflection. But what 21-year-old truly does have that self-reflection? Not many. Let
alone a narcissist.
Yeah, well, 1,000%.
Yeah.
1,000%. You wonder if in 5 years, 10 years, maybe they grow up a little bit, if they make it. If they grow up a little bit, if all of a sudden it kind of hits them and they go like, holy shit, maybe I wasn't just standing in the dry forest with the leaves around lighting matches. Maybe I did actually bend over and put the match in the leaves and cause the fire. You wonder if there's going to be that moment of realization. And if they have that moment of realization, it won't be public. It'll be a private moment. And hopefully that puts their life back on track, because God knows, Michaela can't do that anymore, So pretty messed up, man. You guys, you girls have anything to close on that before we get to some, because a lot of people have had a lot to say about this in the chat, so we'll get to you guys in just a second. But you ladies have anything on that before we get to the supers?
Just
real
that
quick?
the unfortunate reality of symptoms like this that lead us to believe it's a narcissist is that kind of person will never heal. They will never face the reality. That's the sad, devastating truth about that kind of a mental disease, is that you are incapable of self-reflection. You are so deeply traumatized, damaged, and afraid and insecure of responsibility, acceptance, facing the truth, accepting that you really fucked up and that you actually are not perfect the way that you tell yourself you are every day. That's a glass ceiling to break through for somebody like that. And as easy as it seems for us, because we did that when we were 5, right. And we, dropped our lollipop for the first time. We're like, oh, life doesn't always go our way. That's okay. These people will never do that. And so this child will, be 80 years old and still blaming the rest of the world and, that's it. That's the consequence of that is the miserable life that person will lead. So,
And they'll also never stop, especially right now with the amount of attention that he's getting. They love it.
it's fueling it.
Narcissists love attention. Yes, it fuels the fire. So he's probably sitting at home behind his little screen going, look at all the attention I'm getting. It's a high for them. It's a fix. It's what they call supply. So this attention is just supply for this kid. So he's never going to stop. And unfortunately, I don't think that anybody should stop talking about the story or digging for the truth about this person, or and fighting for Michaela and letting her voice be heard, because it got cut so short. But he's thinking that he's winning right now by continuing to post things like that, blaming it on other people, pointing out stuff that he did himself. But I mean, let him think that. Let him think it. He's shit.
Well, and to further this home, this was more post on their Blue Sky before they deleted it. It says, I wish you guys prayed against actual abusers in this fandom the way you do against me for happening to make a post about someone's wrongdoings years before their death. And I said, you act like right there. So I'm just, like, once again, the gaslighting is so real when it comes to this. And it's really sad to see, just pathetic. Really. And by the way, if you are watching this, dude, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like, no one likes you. Like, I'm just saying, like, that's really shitty of you,
Yeah.
And I hope you have that moment of realization that as you grow up and you get a little bit older and you mature out of your infant state and you actually move out of mommy and daddy's house, that hey, maybe I was a fuckwad, and maybe I should have not done what I did. Obey your digital overlords. Watch this video right here that YouTube suggested for you.